Founders team, welcome back. Episode 3. This is titled Founders Hierarchy. We're going to talk a little bit more about our build, lead, sell. And ideally, you have a better understanding of the process of which we've made decisions from a roles and responsibilities standpoint, from a qualification standpoint, and really make sure that we hammer home expectations for you in your role as a founder. An individual joins our company, the number one focus is building a caseload. We want to build their ability to serve our clientele. That could be a staff PT or senior PT. You most likely have been in one of these roles at some point during your career as a physical therapist. Somewhere in this senior PT area, and hey, maybe a little bit below, we start to involve ourselves a little bit more in leadership, or our ability to lead a team. This would also correspond with individuals in site director roles, again, some of which you all have been in. You're in charge of your caseload, you're in charge of others. The thing that differentiates a founder is the sell category. If you are not buying in to the sell category, then you are fulfilling a role of somebody who ideally will eventually end up being underneath of you at your particular location. When founders progress, their office does well, then they're in a situation where they have a site director underneath of them. It offloads roles and responsibilities that they previously used to do well. However, if you're a founder and you're not doing these, why didn't you just potentially stay here where you were focusing on building and leading? A founder should be doing some of the 5 items here. Do you have to do all of them? Well, you should. And if anything, you should be doing an overwhelming majority of them. These are things that cost you $0, and the only thing that they cost you is time or repetitions. If you remember an earlier message to you all, and hopefully I've had this conversation with you directly, you get reps to determine whether or not you're good at something or bad at something. Some of you might not naturally be very salesy. You might need to work on your ability to sell. The only way to do that is to get reps. If you feel like you've tried some of things and they don't work, I hate to say it, but you're probably not good at the thing right now. So we get reps to get information. We get information, and ideally we recognize patterns in terms of what works or doesn't work. Then we're in a situation where we do more of the things that work. This is called working smarter. And ideally we're putting ourselves in a situation where we have these things as a part of our ecosystem. If you do more, you're going to end up with more output because you did more input, and ideally you are able to work smarter over the course of time. The more reps you put in, the quicker you're able to work smarter. And the quicker you're able to work smarter, the quicker you're probably able to get your office where you want it to be. But you really have to ask yourself, am I doing the role of a site director or am I doing the role of a founder? Everybody should be doing their best to make sure that these things are in your ecosystem. I realize that the founder role has continually evolved and we're trying to put more and more resources in front of you. But you have to be asking yourself on a regular basis if you're doing what it takes. This is in the profit sharing document, profit sharing contract as it relates to the marketing and sales side of things. Otherwise, have you created enough community connectivity to make your role and impact entirely defensible so that if somebody else who comes in who looks like us can't push you out from a market share standpoint? Ideally, your name associated with the company in the community that you're in is meaningful because you've done things in terms of the ecosystem of selling R2P. Remember, at the end of the day, you're taking advantage of this entrepreneurial opportunity to create a situation for yourself where you almost serve as a micro influencer in the PT and rehab space around your location. This is things that you're going to be involving yourself in to do that. Hopefully this gives you a better understanding of the hierarchy and the progression of roles and responsibilities and especially making sure that we are differentiating the difference between a site director, of whom you'll eventually have underneath of you, or maybe you already do, and a founder. Founders build, lead, sell. Site directors typically do a lot of just build and lead. Any questions? Let me know.